My twin flame is married. Why did I meet them? What is the point, right? Those are kind of the questions you're asking. Like, you meet this person and it's this amazing connection. It's just deep and powerful, and nobody's ever made you feel like this before. And they're fucking married. Why? What's the point, right? So, this is for you if that's the situation you find yourself in. And by the way, is there anything I can do about it? We're going to talk about those things in this video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kurt. I am the world's leading twin flame coach. I've coached over 5,000 twin flame students, more than anybody on earth. How did I do it? Well, my approach to twin flames is a little different, actually a lot different at the very root. And we're going to talk about that in this video. Why did you meet your twin flame? What are twin flames? And also, what can I do about it? So, for you to really understand why you met your twin flame and if you can do something about it when they are married, we first have to talk about what a twin flame is. And the distinction between what I generally have to say about twin flames and what other people generally have to say about twin flames is most people, and I don't know that others do this on purpose, but it seems like when people are describing this phenomenon, they're approaching it like it's soulmates, only better or something, right? Like it's like super soulmates. It's like an amazing soulmate kind of thing. And when you point out to some people that that's their approach, they kind of get offended by that. No, I'm not. No, there's really a difference. And you go, okay, well, what's the difference? And there's not really a clear-cut difference in the approach, in what they say twin flames are or what you should do about it. And I'm going to talk about all of those things in this video. I'm going to kind of get into the science, I guess you could say, of what this is, because there are clear-cut answers about this phenomenon. And let's even start with the term twin flame, which I'm not crazy about, but that's what everybody calls it. I would prefer simultaneous incarnations. My coaching students, they will often refer to their twin flame as their other self. Okay, remember, twin flames is one soul in two bodies, or the soul splits or something like that. And that is absolutely correct. That is exactly what's going on here, right? So most people, at least in this community, they're going to recognize that there is this phenomenon that we call reincarnation, right? So past lives, future lives, the soul, it incarnates into a physical body, it deincarnates, death, right? That's what that is. And the fact is, your twin flame is just another incarnation of your soul. It's simultaneous incarnations. So I drew you a quick picture, just a quick hand-drawn picture to illustrate my point here, right? So this is what you would call the higher self, okay, in heaven, right? Or the afterlife, which is really the before life, right? So this octopus shape, the head, is what you would call the oversoul or the higher self in heaven, the afterlife. And side note, I have a theory about what that is. I don't believe that anything in this universe can exist that we can't explain. And whether you think the science that I teach about all this is good science or bad science, we can talk about that later. But hey, at least I'm trying to find what appear to be reasonable answers to this phenomenon. Like, if there is a God, if we are a soul, if there is reincarnation, well, what is it? Because it's not magic. There's no such thing as magic. Magic is just science undiscovered. It's something that we just haven't figured out yet. If you look at certain phenomenon in the universe, like gravity, perhaps, or whatever, right? maybe people used to think that was some kind of magic, but now science has actually explained what it is. So you understand kind of my reasoning there about this stuff. So this heaven, so to speak, the afterlife, before life, where the oversoul or higher self exists, my theory of that is, well, maybe that's what dark matter, dark energy is. Okay, if you've ever heard of that, dark energy, dark matter, I believe it is metaphysical. It is the metaphysical part of the universe. It is the energy part of the universe. And dark energy, dark matter, consists of something like 70, 80% of the mass of the universe. And then physical matter is the rest, right? And that's kind of my theory about it. And I'm sitting here looking at that going, well, that's got to be what it is. But I don't know how you would prove that. I'm not a scientist. I don't profess to be. I'm just trying to find an answer to all this that seems at least somewhat reasonable and sane, rather than just going, oh, well, it's mysterious and nobody knows what it is. BS. There's got to be an explanation. If this is a real thing, there has to be an explanation. Okay, so that's what this is. When you do the thing that we call die, you go back to the energy part of the universe. It's metaphysical, okay? And so that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so this is your physical 3D incarnation in the year 1750, the year 1870, and present day. You have two. You have two. Now, there is also a phenomenon that we have observed consistently with my students, myself, where at the level of the mind, there's this polarization. And if you're thinking, what does this have to do with my twin flame is married? Just go with me. This has everything to do with it, okay? I can't help you if you don't understand how this works. So don't click off. The mind is duality. Remember, your body, mind, soul, right? And this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm the leading twin flame coach, because I'm not up here reinventing the wheel. I'm talking about things from a ancient perspective, like body, mind, soul, yin and yang, duality, right? How the mind works, what the soul is, what these things are, and how they work is right out of the Tao or Buddhism or ancient Christianity or any of those places. I'm not reinventing the wheel. That's why all of my students have breakthroughs. Almost all of them, right? There's some people, I don't know what to say. They've got something else going on and I can't help them, right? But very, very few, like less than 1% of the people that I've ever helped, which is to say almost all of my students, at minimum, experience spiritual breakthroughs. Why? Because I'm clear about how this works and I'm not reinventing the wheel. Okay, so the mind is duality. And at the level of the mind, you're yin and yang with your twin flame. That's why people refer to it as divine feminine, divine masculine. Okay, divine feminine, divine masculine. It's not really that this whole thing works on duality, right? Or that's stupid. It's not really that this whole thing works on gender, on sex, feminine, masculine. It doesn't really work that way. The gender labels are just trying to point you at a deeper underlying truth, which is called duality. And it's how our whole entire universe functions. Even Albert Einstein called it relativity, right? Things being relative, opposites, plus, minus, greater, lesser, good, bad, past, future, right? And with the mind, with mentalism, which is metaphysical, the mind is metaphysical, thoughts are metaphysical, which again, I think explains dark matter, dark energy, or maybe dark matter, dark energy explains metaphysical energy. Huh? Yeah, I don't know. Ancient Hermetic philosophy, they called the universe mental. But I digress. The mind is duality. And again, this is an ancient Zen teaching. Ancient Zen spiritualism, right out of the Tao, Buddhism, ancient Christianity, right? The Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Ram Dass, all these guys and gals too. There's, Abraham Hicks. She understands this. Charlotte Jocko Beck, right? This is an ancient, thousands and thousands of years old spiritual teaching. The mind is duality. And I mean, gosh, I've even spoken to psychologists that have kind of explained it that way, right? There's good and bad. Okay. And it's a sliding scale between the two extremes. I get that. I'm not a psychologist. I don't profess to be one. But I understand this basic principle of how the mind operates. It's duality. And that's kind of the teaching behind yin and yang. Or from the Bible, they called it alpha and omega, right? Duality. It's how our universe operates. So, body, we're clear about what the body is. And interestingly, the body works on duality too. You're made out of physical matter. Physical matter is made out of atoms. Atoms have positive and negative properties, right? And I'll just leave it at that. And just a simple explanation on that. But the mind also is duality. Now, the soul, which is what you really are, is non-duality. And there's even a word in astrophysics, quantum physics, relativity. I think it's relativity. Yes, because Albert Einstein is the one that came up with this theory. And they started to play around with his equation, and they ran into this interesting phenomenon called a singularity. And it's where the duality relativity of the universe breaks down. And even mathematics itself, it doesn't seem to function anymore. And there's some physicists that'll argue, well, no, it's not that math breaks down and doesn't function. We just haven't found the right type of number yet. Okay. But I digress. A singularity, which is non-duality. It's the complete breakdown of reality, right? It's a monad. And that is exactly the way that God, the Father, or the soul has always been described. Consciousness. The mind is thought, it's duality. The soul is consciousness, and it is non-duality. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. All I'm really doing is covering old ground with you. And I'm applying it to this twin flame phenomenon. If it is true that you and your twin flame are the same soul, then they're just another incarnation of your soul. That's all that's going on. Now, because of the polarization at the level of the mind, you focus on them. When you focus on them mentally, emotionally, or metaphysically, they focus on anything but you. Yin, yang. You focus on them, they don't focus on you. It's this push-pull, and it's embedded in the infrastructure between you and this other incarnation of your soul. Okay? The metaphysical mental component. Remember, body, mind, soul. The mind is duality. It's the yin and yang. It's the opposites. It's the alpha omega. It's the plus minus. And the best descriptors that I've ever found to explain what's going on energetically between you and your twin flame are anode and cathode. Right? Anode and cathode. And that's why they run. That's why they run, because you're approaching this through the separation consciousness of the mind. There's another ancient Zen spiritual term right out of the Tao. I don't know if it's in the Tao per se, but it's been called separation consciousness. When you believe that you are the mind, the personality, the ego, and everybody does. Everybody on earth does that. You are the consciousness. You have a personality. Now, what does this have to do with, is my twin flame married? It's got everything to do with it. I just gave you the secret, right? Now you should know what to do about this. And if you don't, I'll spell it out for you. You already are your twin flame. Why you met your twin flame? Well, it seems to me that the purpose of meeting your twin flame is they trigger your spiritual awakening, right? So all humans on earth exist in a level of consciousness that has always been called separation consciousness for a very long time, thousands of years, because the mind is duality. This, that, me, other, up, down, hot, cold, good, bad, right, wrong, past, future, me, that. Me, you. And that's all the mind is capable of doing, is perceiving something else. It's not defective because it is doing that. That's what it's for. That's its job. Right? And we humans, we believe we are the mind. We believe we are the personality. That is the staple of ancient Zen spiritualism. To no longer identify as the personality, the ego, which is a collection of retained thought and emotional patterns. Right? Your sense of self is derived from an identity, a bunch of memories. And I'm not even saying that's bad. That's just what that is. Okay? Now, the true self, which is the soul now, we're switching to the soul, is consciousness. You've got thoughts and feelings going on, and then you are there noticing. Have you ever done this? Like, why did I think that? Why am I feeling this way? Everybody's done that. Now, did you ever notice that you are the noticer of the thoughts and feelings? Did you ever notice that? What is that? What is the noticing? What is consciousness? And modern science would have us believe that consciousness is a product of electrical impulses in the brain. But I've got news for you. There is still zero evidence to support that. There's some ancillary data. There's some not so good analysis of observations that have been made. There is still no smoking gun, guys, and they're never going to find it. Now, one of the best physicists I've ever come across, his name is Lothar Schaefer. He described consciousness as an unexplainable cosmic force. Touché. Touché. Consciousness is what you are. If you are there looking at thoughts and feelings, what does that make you? What is the you there? And in ancient Zen spiritualism, they have called that the great I, the self. Okay? It's not thought, and it's not duality. So what do? How do I coach my students? Take your focus off the physical person and go within. Make a lifestyle out of Zen. That's what I teach people, right? How to switch energetically into the consciousness of the soul. And oftentimes, their twin flame wants to talk to them suddenly. That happens all the time. So what should I do about my married twin flame? You tell me. I kind of just gave you the answer. Now, there's all kinds of moral arguments to be made about, well, you're a home wrecker and you're violating their free will. Will my twin flame come back or not? Will my twin flame come back or not, Kurt? Can you guarantee that if I do your coaching program, let's say, that your twin flame is going to come back? And I don't even know how to answer that question, because the fact is, you have to treat this like it's your spiritual awakening if that's going to happen at all, right? I have students that have married their twin flame, guys. Lots of them. There's even a video on my channel. You can just go to YouTube and in the search bar, just type New World All-Star Student Married. And you'll find an interview I did with one of my students who married her twin flame. And there's other twin flame success story videos that I've done where I showcase students that have married their twin flames. It happens all the time, guys. And my twin flame is permanently in my life. It happens all the time. So are they going to leave their spouse and come to be with you? Well, the answer is either yes or no. And no, I'm not going to make any guarantees, because if I make you a guarantee, you're going to focus on that and it's actually going to cause your twin flame to run away from you. And if you think that sounds like bullshit, well, I don't really disagree with you from the conceptual level. But here's the thing. It's a paradox. You actually have to take all of your intention, all of your mental, emotional, and metaphysical focus off the physical person. You literally have to stop making them the goal all the way. No bullshit, all the way. And this is nothing more than my spiritual awakening. Nothing else. And you just treat it that way. And you're not even trying to get this person to be with you at all. And you could care less if they ever come back. And that's when they do. Every single time one of my students has experienced their twin flame coming back into their life, it's because they did that. So, is your twin flame going to come to you to be with you if you're married? I don't know. Are you going to do the work? Are you going to do it all the way? And here's another thing. It doesn't even matter, guys. It doesn't matter. Either way, if they do come back or they don't come back, the only thing you can do is make this about your spiritual awakening. That's what this is. You literally met your spirit in another body. Your twin flame is that. They are your soul in another body. I guess this has everything to do with your spirit, your soul, right? Consciousness, breaking out of the ego. That's why you experienced the very painful dark night of the soul, which, by the way, in ancient Zen spiritualism has always been called ego death. Right, it's the breakdown of identification with the ego personality, and you no longer derive your sense of self from the ego personality. And you instead are embracing this inner standing of self, that you are an eternal being, that you are consciousness, that you are light. That's the only way, you guys. That's the only way. The only way you're ever going to find out if you can get your twin flame to come back is if you do the spiritual work. No bullshit. No excuses. That's the only way, guys. Thanks for watching.